What's good, YouTube? Welcome back to another video, man. So we have some controversy going on, bro. Apparently, Antonio Brown just filed for bankruptcy. This was not too long ago, like a few days ago. Despite reporting $80 million in NFL career earnings, man, apparently he owes 8 creditors nearly $3 million. I'm not too sure how exactly that can end up, reporting to him becoming bankrupt. I'm not too sure if maybe he's lying about it. Maybe he's not lying about it. You know what I'm saying? KCB Marketing sued him for allegedly not paying his commissions of more than $2 million. And yeah, this is honestly not something that you would always want to go ahead and see, especially for a black man who was pretty successful while he was in the NFL, man. But let's go ahead and just see exactly what this is talking about, though. Credit to this video is going to be Mikerophone. We about to go ahead and react to this. Antonio Brown is going broke.
And today he declared for bankruptcy, or yesterday he declared for bankruptcy. His public meltdown has been something that seems like it could be tied to football fairly easily. I know this is going to sound quite...
Oh, man.
I've got to
come on with these ads, yo. Come on, son. We got to get YouTube Premium. I ain't going to lie.
1212. What's going on, everybody? The story of Antonio Brown is one of the most unique stories in all of sports, because at one point or another, Antonio Brown was one of the most humble, one of the most inspirational underdog stories in the entire NFL. The man was drafted in the 6th round of the 2010 NFL draft. He wasn't supposed to be anything special, but it only took him 2 years with the Pittsburgh Steelers to show that he is one of the
I truly forgot about that too.
Receivers of all time, eclipsing over 1,000 yards in his 2nd season in the league, quickly becoming one of Ben Roethlisberger's favorite targets, and he would have one of the most dominant runs as a wide receiver from 2013 to 2018. Through it all, you'd see him get a little bit more cocky as a result of it. Clearly, the success was getting to Antonio Brown's head, but it wasn't anything too significant to the point where it could ruin the Pittsburgh Steelers until the latter part of his career. In 2013, he had 1,499 receiving yards and 8 touchdowns. The next year, he'd have 1,098 receiving yards and 13 touchdowns. The very next year, he'd have
even more.
Over 1,800 receiving yards and 10 touchdowns. In 2016, he'd have 1,284 receiving yards and 12 touchdowns. In 2017, he'd have 1,533 receiving yards and 9 touchdowns. Until his final season with the Pittsburgh Steelers, which was the most tumultuous one of his career, where he had his career high in touchdowns with 15 and 1,290.
Almost 1,300 yards.
There's no question in anyone's mind at the time that Antonio Brown was one day going to be a Hall of Famer. And he gave us meme-worthy moments like the time he kicked a punter in the face. But one thing changed everything for Antonio Brown.
That's crazy.
That's in the 2018 season, Madden decided to make Antonio Brown its cover athlete. And I guess the Madden curse hit AB even harder this year because he didn't play a full season and he still had a great season, getting his all-time highest receiving touchdowns in his career. But that would be when he'd start beefing with Ben Roethlisberger and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Towards the latter part of the season, he'd get into arguments with Ben Roethlisberger. Then he would start skipping practices leading up to the final week of the season versus the Cincinnati Bengals, where AB was benched for that game. In that offseason, the Steelers decided to trade AB to the Oakland Raiders. Now, at the time, people were saying that the Raiders fleeced the Pittsburgh Steelers, trading a 3rd-round pick and a 5th-round pick in the 2019
Yo, that haircut was crazy.
And the Raiders would even pay him a 3-year, $50 million contract extension. But immediately more drama would ensue with the Raiders. Everything from him showing up to training camp with frostbitten feet from a cryotherapy session, to him getting into a beef with the NFL over the type of helmet he's allowed to wear. Luckily for Antonio Brown, John Gruden called him and said that he believed that he was the most misunderstood player in football. And if you don't believe...
Imagine, bro. John Gruden coaching Antonio Brown. That had to have been one of the most perfect places you could have been to, you know what I'm saying, get your face right again, because of course he'll take up for anything. Ironic, because didn't he end up making a whole bunch of racist comments and stuff in emails as well?
Believe me, Antonio Brown leaked this call to his YouTube channel.
I don't know where you are in your life right now. All I know is you got a lot of things going. There's a lot of people that have an opinion about you, and whether it be good or bad, you're in the spotlight all the time. Please stop this. You just play football. How hard is it, man? You're a great football player. Just play football.
Things would get really bad with the Raiders. I mean, to a point where he would get into this altercation with general manager Mike Mayock because due to unexcused absences, he threatened to hit the general manager and called him a cracker. Which
Yo,
and then
what?
would punt a football and say, "Find me for that." Before you know it, Antonio Brown would get released by the Raiders, and he would celebrate by posting a video onto his YouTube channel.
Look up Adam Schefter. The Raiders free!
Luckily for Antonio
Wow.
Brown, Tom Brady really wanted to play football with him, so much so that despite all the allegations going on against him regarding an essay and some pretty intense text messages, might I add, the New England Patriots signed Antonio Brown to a one-year contract worth $15 million with a
That's a lot of bread right there.
bonus. They added a second-year option in AB's contract where he would receive $20 million if it was picked up. The theme of this is Antonio Brown has left a lot of money on the table due to his antics, and he would make his debut for the Patriots in week 2 of the NFL season, catching 4 passes for 56 yards and a touchdown, and that would be it for his career with the Patriots. He'd only play in that one game before the Patriots decided that they had to cut him. AB would announce that offseason that he's retiring, but luckily for him, Tom Brady decided to go to Tampa Bay, and despite Bruce Arians not liking Antonio Brown based off of the time he had with him in Pittsburgh,
Tom Brady
he overruled him and made sure that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers signed him. Now, this time Antonio Brown's circumstances were significantly different. He would sign a one-year contract with the team, which included $1 million in base salary and $1.5 million in incentives. And for that entire season that he played, he was a model citizen. Antonio Brown was able to help Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers win a Super Bowl. But he wasn't the same player that he once was. He was really a wide receiver 3 behind Mike Evans and Chris Godwin.
Yeah.
But this was a legacy season for AB. And to be honest, Tom Brady and Antonio Brown.
So he technically got another ring, right?
Helping Tom Brady win his first Super Bowl without Bill Belichick, and Tom Brady helping Antonio Brown win a Super Bowl. Unfortunately, things would get way worse that next year. AB would return to the Buccaneers on a one-year $6.25 million contract, but the Buccaneers weren't nearly as dominant as they were the year prior. And there were some more incidents, such as Antonio Brown forging a vaccination card and his chef outing him for doing this. The reason why the chef outed Antonio Brown for doing this was because Antonio Brown didn't pay his chef. And then there was the infamous game where the Jets faced off against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, where Antonio Brown decided to leave in the middle of the game. And that was the last we'd see of Antonio Brown on a football field.
That was crazy.
Reports of people trying to expose what really happened, including a toilet seat licking OF model claiming that she was with AB the night before, which is absolutely insane.
What?
But after this, Antonio Brown's life would get way more unhinged. To go on a press tour condemning Tom Brady for the fact that Rob Gronkowski got paid more than him.
If Tom Brady's my boy, why am I playing for earnest salary? Gronkowski is boy, right?
Right.
How much did he get paid?
Significant amount.
All right, so why is AB?
I remember this interview.
So bad that Antonio Brown would get blocked by Tom Brady. I'm not necessarily a Tom Brady stan. I respect
He
what
blocked
does,
him?
and I do think he's the greatest football player of all time. But from a human perspective, Tom Brady brought Antonio Brown into his home, let him stay with him, and tried to do everything he could to make sure Antonio Brown stayed out of trouble.
Facts. That's true, bro.
It was a mutually beneficial relationship, and he did this when Antonio Brown was at rock bottom, and gave him a job, which it seemed like he really needs. But since then, Antonio Brown's career would get absolutely unhinged.
Damn.
First, he tried rapping, which went exactly as you'd expect it would.
Bro, why was he even trying to start rapping, bro?
Which is absolutely insane when you look at this footage. Before we got this heartwarming
Yo,
story of
what?
AB trying to own an arena football league team, before we realized it wasn't AB purchasing the team outright, it was more of a hostile takeover where the players and coaches hated playing for him and literally quit. This was like the best team in the arena football league, and they completely disbanded after AB took over. He got sued by the Albany Empire's players and coaches as a result of it, and on top of this, Antonio Brown would get arrested over unpaid child support. And that's where we are currently. According to a Florida man from Miami-Dade County, Antonio Brown had allegedly ducked payments that he had been required to make to his ex, Wiltreese Jackson. And he could be released from custody if he pays $30,000. And that report was the last we heard of him almost a year ago. Since then, Antonio Brown has been posting on Twitter, posting memes like wanna buy a graham cracker, a gram of what, trying to get people to invest in a meme coin called CTESPN, and occasionally posting crackers of the day, and of course
that's crazy. I'm not gonna lie. That is very freaking wild. Wow. Cracker of the day, and he put Luca. That's, yo. He's putting a bad look on us. I ain't gonna lie, man. Y'all comment down below, man. Do y'all believe in the Madden curse, though? I want to know about that, too, because we didn't talk too much about that.
Beefing with Park. Now, some are speculating that Antonio Brown sold his Twitter account, but I have to admit some of his tweets are actually kind of funny. Like this one. Person of 2024, still gonna win the election while Biden shits himself. Or this meme.
Oh, he's trolling.
I'm just that guy that is fucking this kid's mom. A part of me feels like this can't be him, but it's not like life is really going that well for Antonio Brown on top of this, because it's official.
Imagine if that wasn't him this whole time, though.
100% broke. And I guess this is a follow-up to the story we got last year. Throughout his career, Antonio Brown made $80 million, which is an insane amount of money. Don't get me wrong, I have high aspirations for myself. I don't even think I'm gonna see 10% of that money or 5% of that money in my entire life. I hope I do, but man, $80 million is an obscene amount of money. And
10% of that is only $8 million.
This is considering the fact that Antonio Brown has left money on the table, right? I mean, the Raiders wanted to give him a 3-year, $50 million contract, but he acted like an idiot when he was with the Raiders. And then he goes to the New England Patriots, but he was too much of a risk, and he could have made $20 million in that 1 year. So check this out. According to Spotrac, AB has made over $80 million throughout his career, yet the 7-time Pro Bowler filed for bankruptcy in federal court on Monday, according to the Florida Times-Union. Court documents reviewed by the Times-Union show Brown owed...
Yeah, that's pretty much what we was looking at in the beginning. He owed $3 million or whatever. Something like that.
Owes nearly $3 million to at least 8 creditors. Among them is a Florida truck driver who was awarded $1.2 million after Brown reportedly assaulted him. The driver was awarded the sum when AB did not appear in court for the lawsuit.
Wow.
Antonio Brown's life at this point is like GTA 6.
Facts.
He's literally going out allegedly assaulting people, and then he isn't even showing up in court for the lawsuits. So he's literally letting the people that are suing him win. KCB Marketing
win more money
for allegedly not paying commissions on more than $2 million in earnings from marketing deals, the Tampa Bay Times reported in 2021. Last year, Avanti Solutions sued Brown, alleging the Wisconsin company was owed $28,589 for work done for Brown during his appearance at the Rolling Loud concert in LA. The funniest part of this entire situation is posting account, just CTESPN, which is a play on the fact that people are suggesting that he has CTE, tweeted this: breaking news, hashtag CTESPN. NFL legend Antonio Brown has filed bankruptcy today. He'll be a first ballot Hall of Famer in 2027, and he'll be releasing new music this summer. He is also the founder of the most trusted source in all of sports. The generational run continues.
Yo, what?
But that's not it, man. It gets worse. Additionally, the court documents say that Brown owes hundreds of thousands in credit card debt and $296 to a South Florida plumber. He filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy, claimed less than $50,000 in assets, and said he is unable to pay at least 3 six-figure civil judgments. Some of these headlines are absolutely insane.
This is like the YK Osiris of football, bro. Like, he ain't paying nobody. That's a little crazy.
I mean, like, owing $296 to a South Florida plumber is a
just
little
pay the guy.
But if you think that's bizarre, check this out. USA Today points out that Brown was sued in 2018 for throwing furniture off the balcony that nearly struck a toddler. The following year, he was sued by his personal chef and was accused in another lawsuit of SA. It's not clear if those lawsuits were mentioned in the bankruptcy.
Yo, he almost hit a toddler.
This is why I think AB's Twitter account isn't his, because this is his reaction. Where it all started, hashtag CTESPN. Antonio Brown really took the Madden curse to new heights. There's no way that AB is self-aware enough to poke fun of this situation. This is something that a fan would typically say about him. So that's why I'm thinking that Antonio Brown's Twitter account isn't his own anymore. And look, man, at first, The situation was kind of comical for sure. At a specific point, this is getting a little concerning. It's one of those situations that's really unfortunate because you could tell there are people in his life that actually cared about him and wanted to help him. But every time they did, this man would just turn around and stab him in the back, like what Tom Brady did. And I can only imagine what it's like to be in Antonio Brown's personal circle. And it just seems like the situation's getting worse and worse for Antonio Brown because the man is officially broke. Let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think about all this, man. Do you think Antonio Brown could turn it around?
Sheesh.
Part of this entire situation is at 35, I still think he could play wide receiver in the NFL. It's just that freaking
He's
good.
only 35?
Like a Larry Fitzgerald-like career if he didn't lose his mind.
Oof.
And I don't even know if it's his own fault for losing his mind, or if it's the fact that Vontaze Burfict hit him, or if it's the Madden curse, or if it's just his own hubris from the amount of money he's made in the NFL. We actually have a full-length documentary on where this all started for Antonio Brown and the way he was interviewing before Vontaze Burfict laid him out versus the way he was interviewing after, and whether or not he truly has CTE. I'm going to leave a link to that in the end screen, so I highly recommend you guys check it out. It's one of our finest works on this channel. I'll see you guys there. I'm your boy Mike, and I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.
Wow, that raises a lot of questions though, because they're saying that supposedly he was interviewing differently after that hit. I don't know, man, but if that is the case, bro, that is very sad. Like, that is honestly very sad, bro. Which he honestly, at 35, bro, can very much so still play in the league. Hopefully we can see a turnaround at some point, man. He's still very young, bro. And I feel like he could definitely turn his life around, but I don't really know how exactly this will all play out. But we'll have to wait and see how that ends up playing out. Y'all also comment down below, bro. Like I said, do y'all think the Madden curse is real? The Madden cover curse, do y'all believe that that's real? Because if that's the case, God forbid, we'll be seeing Patrick Mahomes